provide for his children and his wife? Is there a father in this world who would want to be locked up in a cell away from his family? Is there a father in this world who would not defend just...
Then thirdly, reciprocity and not exclusivism. If we seriously want peace and harmony on our overcrowded planet, then friendship and respect we must have towards people of other faiths in a mutual way. This, of course, is more difficult for some religions than for others. I'm going to take two specific examples now, Islam and Christianity. Islam and Christianity are both missionary faiths. They make absolute claims and are anxious to promote their faiths. Muslims are commanded in the Holy Quran to act as witnesses for mankind, just as Christians are commanded in Holy Scripture to go into the world and preach the gospel. So the question to be put to both Muslims and Christians is this: can believers who really believe passionately in their hearts that theirs is a missionary faith really be committed to dialogue? My own answer to this is that they must be, and that they have a distinguished history of doing so in the past as in the present. Take yourself as an individual as an example. Whatever your religious position, now ask yourself this question: would you say of yourself that because you have a clearly and lovingly held identity within a particular religious faith, that your willingness to listen, to learn, and to grow is diminished by that? In any case, no religious faith encourages its members to commend their faith arrogantly, irresponsibly, or deceitfully. Now move on from this. And this is a question addressed to any who are in a majority religion. Is a majority faith willing to offer the same rights and privileges that it expects for its own members? This is a particularly urgent issue, whether it addresses minority Muslim groups in the West or whether it addresses minority Christian groups in the Muslim world. In Britain, there is a particular urgency as we address the question of Muslim schools as independent institutions financed partly by the state. In my own area of London, Ealing, moves to create a Muslim school were eventually blocked by the local authority on the grounds that it would create inter-religious conflict, the majority community in that part of London being Sikh, and which community had led a vocal campaign against it. My own view on this is to emphasize the positive contribution which South Asian culture has made and is making to British life. I believe the solid commitment to religious faith from this community has helped to raise the profile of all religious faiths in Britain. British culture had come to think of religion as unimportant, a society which had begun to assume that everything has its price and can be measured and assessed in quantitative terms, has had to see some things, religious faith, as priceless. And this is certainly the view of the leadership of the mainstream churches in Britain. The Archbishop of Canterbury, in a recent address to the Muslim ulama at Al-Azhar University in Cairo, spoke of his role in guaranteeing religious freedom for all citizens. In prisons and hospitals, Christian chaplains help to ensure that the religious needs of those of other faiths are met. The Church of England has helped to finance a major academic and policy-making study on the role of the faith communities within Britain. I would want to ask, perhaps a bit provocatively, in how many other countries would the established religion be prominent in securing the religious rights of those who are not of their faith. So to move on and to conclude. Finally, cooperation, not confrontation. In spite of all the complexities, there are many areas in the way we organize ourselves as societies where the religious traditions can and do develop wide areas of cooperation. The religious faiths, Christianity and Islam, can and do provide a strong basis for joint commitment to humanity's struggle to overcome evil, disease, and poverty. Let me point to just a few of these areas of cooperation. And the context I want to set this in is society. Devout followers of all faiths are encouraged to be responsible citizens and good neighbors. This, in turn, not only involves a certain lifestyle in community, but a private lifestyle which takes seriously a commitment to respect and to love others. In the contemporary Indian context, of course, this was superbly and incomparably demonstrated by Mahatma Gandhi. The commitment to moral values, the importance of the family, respect for a non-violent way of settling disputes, care for the poor and the underprivileged, and a sense of obligation and accountability to the one who judges all human life. Common religious faith would say that justice and integrity should be at the heart of society. Laws of society require a moral foundation. Experience shows that human beings cannot be improved by the imposition of law alone. This understanding affects our concepts of justice. It affects those who administer the law. It weighs in the balance those who rule. Justice must mean justice for all. So to conclude, we look for cooperation in working for peace based on tolerance and understanding. And this, of course, ties closely with work for peace in general, but is also much broader. Wherever we look in the world, xenophobia is an enemy to racial and religious harmony. Religion, when it is hijacked by extremists, will always do this. Work for tolerance is not accidental, but it needs to be sustained and vigorous. Violence is always violence, whatever the justification. Murder is always murder, especially when it is done in the name of God. So, to sum up, my argument is that religious faith is vital to the well-being and harmony of society, and it will continue to be so. And the Muslim community in Britain has a vital role in this, in challenging our secular society. There is no society which has survived without it. That's religious faith. The collapse of all formerly atheist states has proved this beyond doubt. Religious faith is not about to go away, now nor in the future. So policymakers need to be aware of this. Religious faith, if properly interpreted, is an enormous positive force for good in just some of the areas I've outlined. And I remain utterly convinced that the role of religions, Christianity and Islam in particular, within our own society, is a vital ingredient in the search for peace, order, and harmony in our own society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Taylor, for sticking well to time and keeping the meeting running on time. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Zakir Naik. He is president of the Islamic Research Foundation. He's a medical doctor by profession, but has dedicated a lot of his life to spreading the truth of Islam worldwide, especially amongst millions of English-speaking audiences. He has more than 100 lectures and debates and symposia available on audio and video cassettes, which are extremely popular. I've actually got a whole page, which I won't read out, and I think when you hear him, his qualities will be obvious to you. I'd like to ask him to come and speak on family values and to try and stick to the topic of family values for the next 20-25 minutes, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam. Ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahunna. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Respected Reverend, Dr. Jamal Badwi, my respected elders, and my dear brothers and sisters, I welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace, blessings, and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on all of you. The topic allotted to me for this Christian-Muslim dialogue is family values in Islam. Family values in Islam should not be judged by what individual Muslims do or what the Muslim society does. It should be judged according to the authentic sources. That's the glorious Quran and the Sahih Hadith. I have divided the family values into three broad headings, as those related to the children, that are the sons and the daughters, as those related to the spouses, that is the husband and wife, and those related to the parents, that is father and mother. Let's first discuss the family values related to the children, that's the daughter and the son. The glorious Quran says in Surah An'am, chapter number 6, verse number 151, as well as Surah Isra, chapter number 17, verse number 31, that kill not your children for want of sustenance. For it is Allah who will give sustenance to you and your children. For killing of children is a major crime. Killing of infants, whether male or female, is prohibited in the glorious Quran. And a special reference is made in Surah Takwir, chapter 81, verse number 9, that when the female child is buried alive, and she'll be questioned, for what crime was she killed? A special reference is made that do not kill the female children especially. Because in the olden days, and especially in Arabia, before the Quran was revealed, it was a very common practice that when a daughter was born, very often she was buried alive. Alhamdulillah, after the revelation of the glorious Quran, this evil practice has discontinued in the Arab countries. But yet, unfortunately, it does persist in countries where I come from, like India, and certain countries, mainly due to culture. And according to a survey done by Emily Buchanan on the BBC, on the program Let Her Die, the topic was assignment, she said that every day in India, more than 3,000 fetuses are being aborted after they identified that they're females. Quran not only prohibits the killing of children, especially females, it even rebukes the thought of a person becoming sad at the news of the birth of female child. The glorious Quran says in Surah Nahl, chapter number 16, verse number 58, the glorious Quran says that when news is brought to one of them of the birth of a female child, his face darkens and he's filled with inward grief. And he hides his face in shame from the people and thinks that should he let her live in contempt or should he bury her alive? Ah, what an evil choice. Quran rebukes the thought of a person becoming sad at the news of a female child. And our beloved Prophet said in Sahih Muslim, volume number 4, hadith number 6364, that the Prophet said that anyone who upbrings two daughters correctly with kindness and love till they mature, they will be as close to these two fingers, on the day of judgment. And another hadith says that anyone who upbrings two daughters with love and compassion till they become mature, they shall enter heaven. Once there was a person who kissed his son and placed him on his lap in front of the Prophet. Prophet objected and said that he should have even kissed his daughter and placed her on the other lap. The first guidance given in the glorious Quran to the whole of humankind is in Surah Iqra or Surah Alaq, chapter 96, verse number 1 to 5. It says, Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaq, khalaqal insana min alaq, Iqra wa rabbukal akram, alladzi allama bil kalam, allama al insana ma lam ya'lam. Read, recite or proclaim in the name of thy Lord who created. who created the human beings from something which clings, a leech-like substance. Read, thy Lord is most bountiful, who taught men the use of the pen, who taught men that we did not know. The first guidance given to the humankind in the glorious Quran is to read. And the Prophet said that it is obligatory for every Muslim, man or woman, to acquire knowledge. And the Prophet told the parents that it is obligatory that they should educate the children, especially the daughters. Let's discuss the family values related with the spouses. That's the husband and wife. The glorious Quran refers to the woman as a muhsana. That's a fortress against the devil. Unlike other religions, many of which, who consider the woman as an instrument of the devil. And a good woman, she keeps the husband on the straight path, on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and prevents him from going on the wrong track. Our beloved Prophet said, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 7, in the book of Nikah, chapter number 3, hadith number 4, that, O young people, whoever has the means to get married should get married, for it will help you to lower your gaze and guard your modesty. In Islam, we are encouraged early marriage. If you have the means, you should get married earlier. And the glorious Quran says that if you don't have the means, keep yourself modest till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the means. And our Prophet said, it's a hadith narrated by Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, that anyone who marries completes half his deen, half his religion. So once during question and answer time, somebody asked me, that does it mean that if I marry twice, I complete my full deen, my full religion? What did the Prophet mean that marriage completes half your deen? What the Prophet meant was, marriage prevents you from promiscuity, from fornication, from homosexuality, which are half the evil in the society. Only if you marry do you have an opportunity to be a husband or a wife. Only if you marry do you have an opportunity to be a father or a mother, which are very important duties in Islam. So irrespective whether you marry once or twice, yet you only complete half your deen. The glorious Quran says in Surah Rum, chapter number 30, verse 21, that amongst his signs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for you mates of like nature, so that you may dwell in tranquility with them, and he has put love and mercy between your hearts. The glorious Quran in Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse 21, refers to marriage as a misaq, a sacred covenant. And for a marriage to solemnize, the permission of both would-be husband and wife is equally important. That's the boy and the girl. The Quran says in Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse number 19, that do not inherit the woman against their wishes. According to the beloved Prophet, there's a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 7, in the book of Nikah, chapter number 43, hadith number 5138, that once a lady by the name of Khansa bint Khadim al-Ansariya, she approached the Prophet and said that she has been forced by her father to marry a man who she did not like, and the Prophet nullified the marriage. Permission of both boy and girl is equally important for a marriage to solemnize in Islam. And in Islam, we prefer calling the women folk by the correct terminology, not by the English word housewife. Because she's not married to the house to be referred to as housewife. Housewife means wife of the house. We prefer calling the women folk as homemakers because they make the home, they build the home. And she's married to an equal. In Islam, men and women are equal. Equality does not mean identicality. And the glorious Quran says in Surah Baqarah chapter 2, verse number 228, that the women have rights as against them on terms equitable, but the men have a degree of advantage. Many of the men, including many Muslims, they misunderstand the meaning of this verse and they think that men are superior. Some of them think that the Quran says men are superior. And they quote a verse of the glorious Quran in Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse 34, it says, Ar-rijalu qawwamun 'ala an-nisa, that the men are the qawwam of the women. Qawwam comes from the root word aqama, which means to stand up for. What it actually means, that the men have 1 degree of extra responsibility in supporting the woman. They don't have 1 degree extra superiority in bossing over the woman. they have 1 degree additional responsibility in supporting the woman. Because the verse continues that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given one more strength than the other. And the glorious Quran says in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 19, that treat your wives on footing of equity and kindness. And I started my talk by quoting a verse from the glorious Quran, from Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 187, which says, Hunna libasul lakum, wa antum libasul lahunna. That they are your garments and you are their garments. The roles of husband and wife in a family are that like garments. Garments are used to conceal. Husband and wife should conceal each other's faults. They are used for protecting. They should protect each other. They're used for beautification. Husband and wife should beautify one another. It's a role of a hand and glove. And in Islam, the men are supposed to be the bread earner in Islam, in the family life in Islam. A woman, she need not earn her living. Before she's married, it's the duty of the father and the brother. And after she's married, it's the duty of the husband and the son to look after her boarding, clothing, lodging, and all financial aspects. She need not work for a living. She is financially more secured as compared to the man in Islam. But if she wishes to work, if there are financial problems, she may work as long as the atmosphere is Islamic and Islamic work and within the purview of the Islamic Sharia. Even during marriage, she is on the receiving end. The Quran says in Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse number 4, that give to the woman a marital gift in dower. That means for a marriage to solemnize, a mahr has to be given. The husband gives to the would-be wife a marital gift. It's compulsory. But in the country where I come from, that's India, the society, it's the opposite. The dowry is given by the woman to the husband, would-be husband. And it's a cultural practice which has poisoned the whole society. If a woman has to marry a graduate, she has to give 100,000 rupees. If it's an engineer, she has to give 500,000 rupees. If it's a doctor, 1 million rupees, as they are selling, herds and cattle in the marketplace. In Islam, it's prohibited to demand any dowry from the wife. Willingly, if the parents of the wife give certain gifts, they're most welcome. But demanding directly or indirectly is prohibited. You cannot say that my son, he likes to travel in a Mercedes car, indicating that you require a Mercedes car in dowry. My son likes to live in a 4-bedroom flat, indicating that in marriage, I will marry my son to your daughter only if you give a 4-bedroom apartment.